#1 ranked undefeated UCLA Bruins come to town to take on the red-hot winners of 6 straight and the #14 Stanford Cardinals. Joined alongside my partner Sarah Ash, my name is Max Agrest. Thank you so much for choosing your Friday night to spend with us. Taking a look at some of the action set to begin on the court, Cameron Thorne is on the bench to start. He is one of the leaders in the NCAAs in blocks. He is one of the stars as a 6'4" middle blocker. On the other side, Stanford will be the first to receive, as it is David Decker up to serve. Little Phillips going to the back row attack, and Moses Wagner with an attacking error to start. Stanford has been very consistent over the last few games. That's part of the reason why they were able to get those upset victories against BYU, but not quite a hot start right there on the first attack.
Yeah, well, you see Alex Rotman getting the dig there for Stanford. You mentioned even before the broadcast to me, Max, he has been huge. It might not show up on the stat sheet, but look to him wearing the number 5 here for Stanford to maybe come up big today. Stanford are going to need everybody firing to take down this #1.
David Decker, one of the leaders and aces on the team, and another attacking error from Stanford to start. This is not what you need if you're John Costi. This team has been up and down, and as of late, they were very much so up, but here, a couple early mistakes that you just can't get behind the 8 ball early.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot when you're playing a team like UCLA. You mentioned undefeated. They're having an incredible season. I mean, they made the national championship game last year, lost to Long Beach State. When you're playing a team like this of this caliber, the first thing is you can't beat yourself. It's still early on. It's just the first 2 points. Another big thing is you got to have a short memory and turn it around.
Third straight serve to start. Rotman with the dig. Back set, right side, back over to Wagner. The dig there by Clinton, and the attack too strong for Sean Kelly. Sean Kelly has been electric this year. Only a sophomore, he's hitting .404 on the season.
He's been absolutely incredible, and it's so great to see him getting some time here. I mean, just a sophomore. You mentioned out of Manhattan Beach. Second in MPSF in hitting percentage, as you said, right there.
Clinton with the receive, the joust at the net. Kept up and alive by Porter, but this one will not stay in play. So an early run here from UCLA to go up 4-0 with their most aggressive serve receive. And more than anything, it's just been Stanford can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, the defense has actually been good. You saw that dig there from Porter. He's first in the MPSF in digs per set, averaging over 2 per set. And as you said, there you go.
Yeah, and Clinton is one of the best receivers as an outside hitter, but when you got a guy that can just send it over the net with a rocket, 33 service aces on the year here for David Decker, and for UCLA coming off that massive victory against Hawaii in the sweep, Stanford's going to have to take this timeout early. So Stanford, after trailing 5-0, they will have to burn their first timeout extremely early in the set, and they got to get the ship right away. Just coming from Loyola Chicago, where he was able to go 80-24 in his total career up to this point. He has been an instrumental piece and part of the reason why UCLA has been 18-0 for the first time since 1984. After the timeout, a massive attack from the left side from Alex Rotman, and Stanford finally able to break out of the rut with that point.
Well, that's a big one. We always talk about how important it is to win the point out of a timeout. Stanford able to go to the bench, regroup, make sure it doesn't get too far away from them.
That's arguably one of the hardest things to do in all of sport, as Little Phillips with a little bit of a softer serve here on his first service attempt. The attack from the middle, and this time it's sent away. Michael Wong-Diallo blocked by the Stanford front line.
That was Luke McFall wearing the number 22, the redshirt junior middle blocker. Stands tall at 6'9". He's going to be absolutely huge today.
Oh, he's been so big for the Cardinal. When you need a point, you can trust your middle right there. He's hitting .454 on the season. Going to the left side, pin off the hands. Stanford's defense has been terrific in their 6-0 run. And kissing the corner right there. Rotman with a couple points, and Stanford, after trailing 5-0, got a 3-0 run of their own.
Mentioned Alex Rotman. He can do it on both sides. March 16th, MPSF Defender Player of the Week, the first time in his career, but he can do it offensively too, and you love to see that texture. He didn't need to kill it to get that point.
So a little bit of a different approach here from the service line for Little Phillips, as Clinton goes up and stabs that midair. Right side, Wagner recycles. Setting for pin, Rotman cocks back and throws it down.
Well, what's the saying? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Why not go back to Rotman? He started hot. Throw it back to him. He's been hot in this past 6 games that Stanford have won 6 straight, and throw it right back, and he'll get it done again.
3 attacks, 3 kills. Way to start there for Rotman, and setting it a little too far there. So a very strong server in Little Phillips, but he does leave the team in service errors, hence why he had a little bit of those softer serves to start. And when he does try to get his drop serve going as normal, unfortunately it goes long. And now the lineup brings up Sean Kelly into that back line, the outside hitter out of Manhattan Beach that got that first kill for UCLA. High points this one. Terrific drop serve there. Wagner, high points off the chest, off the billboard. Clinton able to keep it alive. Porter bumps it out of system. It's Wagner again into the triple block. Now it's Rotman, too long. Stanford is an extremely gritty team. That's on full display right there, but you cannot be gritty without having that execution to follow it up.
Yeah, there's a fine line between gritty and chaotic, and Stanford in that play kind of crossed the line into a bit of chaotic. They need to just settle down here.
After the 4-0 run, UCLA unable to get the point on the service error. That is going to be a huge factor in this matchup tonight. Second in aces in the MPSF is UCLA compared to 8th in aces for Stanford. And here's the calming force as he has that calming song as he steps up to the line. Alex Rotman for the first time in his rotation serving. This one will be set in play. Middle attack, Wong Diallo, too far. Something to factor in here. Cameron Thorne sitting on the bench. He was in street clothes, had his jersey underneath it. He is dressed, but Wong Diallo getting the start tonight. And if you cannot get Cameron Thorne, that is going to be a huge issue. As we get our first timeout taken by UCLA here. So both teams, pardon me, I believe it's actually a challenge here. So a challenge on the floor, checking if that attack from Wong Diallo is in or not. And Wong Diallo, one of those guys that has just been picking up, volleyball very quickly. And as we take a look at some of the action being brought out here, John Costi leading the charge in the huddle here in this first challenge. And here's John Costi. John Costi, 281, 247 his career. This is his 20th year at the helm of Stanford, the Burkhofer family head coach, the 2010 national champion, in which Stanford went 24-6. I mean, Coach Costi has done a masterclass with this team this year. Started out so slow, but was able to fold in all this young talent. And now as we get into the meat of the season against the top teams in the nation, everybody's gelling.
Yeah, and he's done such a beautiful job with it. I mean, as you mentioned, just how many young players. There's 4 freshmen, 6 sophomores, just 3 juniors, 2 redshirt juniors, and 4 seniors. So there's quite a lot of young talent. And you mentioned the first part of the season. Well, that's when they played almost all of the ranked opponents. I mean, you look at their schedule to start the season, and you kick it off with the number 12 Lewis, then you head to the number 6 Loyola Chicago, number 16 Ball State, number 17 UCSB, number 5 UC Irvine, not to mention number 3 Hawai'i. That was all back to back to back. It continues, and that's going to test your team more than anything. So if they can get through that and come out looking like this, certainly the sky is the limit for this team, because we have seen them be able to progress. We have seen the young talent start to get into the fold, and now the young talent, they've been battle-tested probably more than any other team in the country right now.
And more than anything, it's everybody staying active and ready as well. We've seen in moments where Theron Briette, who has been the starter in the past at setter for Stanford, has led the MPSF in terms of sets per set, or assists per set, pardon me. He's come in as a serve receive, or pardon me, a service rotation.
We can go 28 UCLA.
In some of this action of
that was talked about.
Rotations in which Stanford has just found themselves in. So still a long discussion here, and that usually foretells a positive thing on the way of the challenging team in this regard. They're getting all these views, they're getting all these looks. And in volleyball, it just has to tick that back line.
You were were mentioning the back line, Max, I feel like we need to get into this because you were kind of volleyball geeking out over it. And I feel like you got to take the reins on this because you were mentioning the back line of UCLA and what they're able to do in their system. And it's such an interesting piece that to speak about here.
Very much so. A backline attack here is what you're referencing. And that's one of the things we haven't seen tonight, but one of the things that UCLA does better than any team in the nation. That back row quick attack, a BIC as they call it. And it looks like that attack from the middle goes long, so Rotman will get another opportunity. We'll go back to that BIC attack in just a moment, once we actually get a look at it for the first time.
Certainly a long review, and we're seeing our referees explaining the call. Of course, the head coach, John Hawks of UCLA. Our referees, Ray Mink, referee 1, Brian Brink, referee 2, Neil Meredith, the line judge 1, and Donald Taryn, the other line judge. Yeah, certainly taking their time with that call. We appreciate it, making sure they get it right.
And our good friend Ray on the stands. If you've ever been around Stanford Beach Volleyball, you know Ray very well. Rotman keeps this in play after the long stoppage. That's a very difficult thing to do. And the attack from the back row right there kept in play. Good job there. And Clinton's just going to have to shove this one over the net. Setting to the middle. Nope, it's that back row attack, and the attacking error there from Sean Kelly. Uncharacteristic for the sophomore, but you can see the pace and the tempo that UCLA uses that at. They are one of those teams where the set in the tempo from that back row attack almost mimics a middle.
Absolutely. I mean, that was back-to-back. It was David Decker wearing number 19 flying in from the back line, and then it was Sean Kelly just there sending it long from the back line.
And Stanford ties things up 7 apiece. Rotman with the drop serve. It's going to force an out-of-system attack into the triple block recycled here. Setting up, back row attack. Porter with the pancake, kept alive, but Clinton wasn't able to collect it after the fact. Once again, gritty, but you just got to really tighten things up ever so slightly.
It's just picture-perfect pancake from Evan Porter. It really doesn't get better than that to get to see in person. Stanford, they're doing everything they can right now. They're doing everything well. They're getting the service runs, right? Their blocks have been tight at the net. It's just going to be a battle.
Long Diallo with the serve and the quick attack from the middle on the other side. Luke McFall getting a little cheer from his friends, and he'll get the spot on that back line to start. Another thing of note, Cameron Thorne checking in for the first time for UCLA. Their 6'4" middle blocker. Yes, you heard that right. He's only 6'4", but he's one of the best in the nation. The first team All-American from a season ago.
It certainly was odd, Max. We did see him in the starting lineup, but then he was on the bench when everything started. Happy to see, just first and foremost, he's out there, he's healthy, and we're excited to see him on this court here at Maples.
Absolutely. For those of you that are not too familiar, middle blockers are typically 6'8" and above. They are not 6'4". This guy has a very unique skill set, and you'll see it in short. Rowan with a very aggressive serve of his own. Little Phillips over to Wagner. Off the touch. Left side attack, and the block is strong. Mo Money with the block.
I mentioned those blocks have been tight for Stanford, and that's coming up big once again. Moses getting right alongside his middle blocker. And that's what Stanford need at the net right now.
The physicality on display there by Moses Wagner. Stanford, very much so a smaller team in terms of traditional size of team setup, but the block has been so strong. It's Clinton and Carrera coming together to get that one.
The energy here in this Maples Pavilion, Max, is certainly helping this Stanford team carry this through.
And Moses Wagner, your leader in aces on the season, having an opportunity, a little bit awkward with the throw set up there, still able to get it over the net, and that is the attack of Cameron Thorne, throwing a thorn in the Stanford run. Oh my goodness, minus tempo is what I like to call that one. It is immediate.
Brian Miller Award winner last year for a reason, Cameron Thorne.
And for those of you that don't know what that is, that's essentially the Heisman of middle blockers. Little Phillips gets to the other side of the net. A very crafty play from Stanford. Free ball here. And a violation called against Stanford will give the point over to UCLA. So Little Phillips on that play ran under the net to keep that one alive, and a very heads-up play. Moses Wagner does that better than almost anybody else in the nation with those out-of-system attacks, but those are the little mistakes, just stepping on that middle line, and you got to tighten it up. You're in this one tight early on, 11 serving 10. Back row attack there, Alex Rotman keeps that one in play. Very huge call UCLA has already burned their first challenge. I don't think you can ever really use your second challenge in the first set.
No, certainly not this earlier. It does look like they're maybe thinking about it. That one's so close. I was about to say he just didn't get over it enough, and well, there you go. You can't burn two in set one.
Cooler heads prevail. The service pressure there by Nate Clinton, and the block sent out of play. That is one thing UCLA does extremely well, just chiseling off the block. Now it's Cameron Thorne, the senior out of Hollywood, Florida. Saw what he did on that front line now. An opportunity to show off what he's got from the service line. 6 service aces on the season, and he'll get his 7th. Rotman couldn't gauge that ball. Back and forth we go. It's been a game of runs up to this point.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, and that's really what both teams need. Specifically, Stanford really need that to stay in this. It just means neither team really willing to make that service error, playing it a little safe.
Off the top of the tape. Back row attack from Mo Wagner. And Clinton just has to send it over. Left side attack. High points it and throws it down as Sean Kelly. One thing we haven't touched on up to this point, Andrew Rowan is a 6'6" senior setter. He leads the nation in assists per set. And part of the reason why he's able to do that is just because of the point in which he's able to put it. That set was above the block of Stanford, and that allowed the opportunity there. Service error by Thorne will give the point back to Stanford. So it'll be 11 serving 14 after the 3-0 run from UCLA comes to a close. Kamana Carrera, not typically the hardest server, but Stanford has had a lot of success working off his rallies. Soft serve. Setting the left side. And the angle and the dunk there by Sean Kelly showed the power, now the finesse. Yeah,
well, you just mentioned what a great job Rowan does. That set was picture perfect for the 6'7" Sean Kelly to get up and just spike that down to the ground.
Yeah, when you have an opportunity to go up there and just play with the different levels and angles, it just gives you so much of a bigger arsenal to work with. Running up, it's Rotman. Middle attack, and that is straight vertical. Micah Wong Diallo, another kill.
Wong Diallo getting to play a different role here. He saw action in just 5 matches last year, 2025, so far appearing in every single match for UCLA this year.
Yeah, we teased it earlier, but hadn't started playing volleyball until senior year. Porter caught it off the shoulder, sent over the net. Going to the back row attack, and the back row quick works again. A little slow on the get up there is Zach Rama on his first attack. Just taking a big jump from that 10-foot line, and he's shaken up at the end of the play.
That serve by David Decker was unreal. You said Evan Porter took that off the shoulder. This entire Maples Pavilion heard that hit the shoulder of Evan Porter. Moses Wagner figures out how to get going, but it's no surprise he's maybe starting off a little slow. That's intentional by the Bruins.
And one thing to factor in as well is that both teams effectively coming off bye weeks. No games last week for UCLA. Stanford playing their alumni game. And now here's David Decker once again. Tough serve, stays in play. Man, the angle on that one. I know baseball season's just begun. Showing off his sinker there.
Eyes immediately to John Costi to see if he's thinking about it, and he's not. You mentioned the bye week in the alumni game. Listen, the alumni games, they can get pretty competitive though, Max.
Oh, without a doubt. Rotman on Rotman action. Second opportunity there on the serve, unable to get over the net. So the service error by UCLA stops their run at 4. And this is going to be a very important rotational piece here for the freshman and Jacob Little-Phillips. On that back line, Stanford with 3 attackers up front. You need a run at this part of the rotation. This one is received from the libero and Conley. No hands touched along the way. The finesse attack for Sean Kelly goes wide left, and Stanford slow and steady.
I think the name of the game right now for Jacob Little-Phillips is to put it in play.
Yeah, absolutely. He possesses a great drop serve, but at the end of the day, if you can't keep it in play, you can't make it happen. Porter with the receive here. Little-Phillips, quick attack! And it's McFall he knows how to ball.
Yeah. He had that one queued up, or was that on the spot?
That's on the spot.
Luke McFall, my goodness, hitting .454 on the season, as you mentioned earlier, Max, and we're seeing why.
Yeah, and that's what you really want. You want your middle attackers to get involved, and there you just see putting a little too much on it. Little Phillips with another service error. That is his second of the match, and that gives the point right back over to UCLA after a 3-0 Stanford run. So it's a game of runs early.
You got to look at the cost benefit sometimes, and I think with Little Phillips, that serve hadn't been falling quite in this set so far, and perhaps the better option was to just make sure it stayed in play.
Little Phillips setting to the far side, recycling off the block is Wagner. Now it's McFall. Man, that is exactly what the doctor called for. Hawaii had a lot of success with their middles in the first set, and that is part of the reason why they were able to keep it so close despite having 7 attacking errors. And when you look at it up to this point for Stanford, they've got 4 attacking errors. Get McFall involved and really just get your bread and butter going. Here's Rotman. Tried to get the angle on it, but could not keep it in play. A service error, and the first team to 20 is UCLA. No timeouts left in the pocket of Stanford. 2 timeouts still in the pocket of UCLA.
Yeah, you could tell Rotman looked at his hand. You could tell just right as it came off, as the ball came off of his hand right there, he got way too far under it. He knew it immediately. Just disappointing for Stanford there. And
now the second setter in Trent Taliaferro comes in. He played against Hawaii, did not have any stats, and he gets a serve here. Back row attack, and it's Alex Rotman showing off he's got that in his archive as well. Out of system, UCLA. Near side pin, Wagner sent away. The roof built by Zach Rama.
My goodness, second team All-American, first team MPSF All-Conference last year, third in kills and 5th in hitting percentage in the conference, but not to mention he can do that as well.
Yeah, everybody is a full team player. They can do every aspect. See these guys on the beach. Little Phillips going over to Clinton, and Clinton chisels off the block this time. Rowan and Thorne were there, but Clinton, the crafty junior, able to get the point right back. For the first time in this matchup, get a look at Ryan Duras. And for Duras, I got all the respect in the world, man. This is the hardest position in sports. Going up here as a serve rotation specialist.
Absolutely. You're cold, you're coming in, and people are expecting the world.
He does possess quite a serve, though. Unable to keep it over in play. Service errors really piling up here in the opening set for Stanford. That is their 5th. And you know, quick math, 5 points, 22-17. That's the difference.
Stanford defense doing a great job, though, to keep this team in it. I mean, you look at UCLA, they're hitting just 100 right now in set number 1.
Roan with the knuckleball and another service ace. It is so hard to gauge these balls. Clinton is a great receiver, but in that situation, he just couldn't gauge if it was going to stay in or not. 35 aces coming into the matchup. Trying to go back-to-back, knocking Rotman on his rear end. It's Wagner trying to get a touch. Couldn't do so. That will be set point for UCLA off the attacking error from Stanford. They've got 5 now. Pardon me, that is their 6th. Andrew Rowan. Good amount of UCLA fans making the drive up north here. Trying to take the first set off the top of the tape. Little Phillips back row, it's Rotman. Couldn't keep it in play once more. So the story of the first set, Stanford errors and Stanford self-errors.
Yeah, certainly, and as you said, it's been a runs for UCLA. Of course, UCLA has won 21 NCAA titles, as you get a look there at Connolly. We mentioned Christopher Connolly, the redshirt junior out of Naples, Florida. He transferred after last season. He beat UCLA on the team with Long Beach State in the championship, and then he transferred to UCLA to the team who he beat. As we're off here in set number 2, and he was a big get in the offseason as point 1 goes to the Bruins.
That point goes the way of communication. Porter was right there. We know how good of a receiver Porter is able to do, but the miscommunication with Rotman, not really being aware of the situation. These are the things that you got to do to tighten things up. Dot your I's, cross your T's.
This is David Decker, went on quite the scoring run in set number 1. This time he sails it long. First point of the second set for the Stanford Cardinal is tallied, and it will be number 5, Alex Rotman, to head back to the serving line. Alex Rotman, mentioned March 16th MPSF Defensive Player of the Week. He's got 7 service aces on the season.
That's a big mustard on that dog there.
Well, just who we were talking about, diving for it was the number 28, Christopher Connolly. What has he added to this squad as the libero?
Well, it's insane because it's just you have this gaping hole in the floor that he can cover, and then you have all of your other players that can almost play as liberos alongside with them. I mean, everybody on UCLA can receive, so when you have that much pressure just taken off your back, it's huge.
Flying in from the back line, that was Micah Wong-Diallo. You get a look at him wearing number 8 right there. We've already mentioned him quite a few times as somebody who's playing a different role than he played last year, and he's certainly stepped up big already today.
Wong-Diallo in the top 50 in terms of blocks per set. He's got 32 on the season, so he can get it done offensively and defensively.
That serve from Sean Kelly. Here's the back set to the right side of the Stanford Cardinal, Moses Wagner. Well, there he is. He's gotten going.
And the difference in that situation there is Wagner went up one-on-one. If you go one-on-ones and play those ones, number 11 is going to take you down.
And so it will be number 22, Luke McFall, the redshirt junior middle blocker. We've already mentioned he got going offensively in that first set, and now he will get set for the serve.
Keeps this one in play.
There's the set flying in once again from the back line, basically unmarked, was Wong-Diallo. And you give him that much time, you give him that much space, that's what's going to happen.
I don't even think there's that much time or space. The pace in which UCLA is playing at has been at a blistering one.
Certainly at least not enough time for the blockers to get that set. Here is Wong-Diallo with the serve. We've gone back and forth in terms of serves, different than the first set where we were on quite a few scoring runs. That one a shot from Kamana Carrera. It sails long, and so Wong-Diallo will serve his second one in a row.
Kamana Carrera on his first attack. That one goes long, uncharacteristic of the young player.
Wong-Diallo out of Los Angeles, California, stays close to home, and Rotman disappointed with himself.
Once again, just miscommunications, just losing focus for half a second. He's getting a pep talk from his team right now in Rotman, and he is a great receiver, so that is just so uncharacteristic.
We've seen this be the difference, though, in certain sets for the Stanford Cardinal in terms of if you win and if you lose. And of recent, they've been a lot tighter and a lot tighter mentally. At that time, Micah Wong-Diallo just trying to place it, sails it long, so the Stanford Cardinal get a little lucky there, and they will get the point and the serve back, and this will be Moses Wagner.
Yeah, and the big difference in why Stanford was able to go out there and upset BYU last week in both those matchups was because of the service pressure. So you got to keep that one tight.
Wagner with a nice drop serve. My goodness, Cameron Thornton oohs from the crowd, and deservedly so.
It's unreal, man. This guy's out of Hollywood, Florida, and with the flashing lights he's able to put up there, you can throw him on a big screen too.
Oh my gosh, transfer after the 2024 season from Grand Canyon University. In his first year last year with UCLA, we mentioned he got the Ryan Miller Award. Blocked at the net, kept in. There's the back set. Blocked at the net once again. UCLA will set up, and it's once again Thorne.
Man, it's not even a traditional setup. He's getting many different looks and angles. He's getting out-of-system looks. It's just unreal. It's like an outside pin hitter playing on the inside.
He hit .521 on the season last year. I'll say that again. He hit .521 on the season last year. That one sails into the net off of the hands of Andrew Rowan. And just back to Cameron Thorne for a second. I mean, we could spend probably half of this broadcast talking about all of his accolades, but that hitting percentage is absolutely ridiculous. 201 kills off of 303 attack attempts, just 43 errors on the whole season. His .521 hitting percentage ranks 5th all-time in a single season percentage, and that's in this massively pedigreed UCLA Bruins lineup.
3 straight points right over the Thorne. There's a reason he's hitting .527 this year. It's on tape, it stands out. In person, it's unbelievable.
Truly something to see. Zach Rama with the serve, and that will sail long. It'll be a point to the Stanford Cardinal. Can they capitalize on this on these service errors is the question.
You've got to be able to go out there, get a side out for UCLA if you want any chance just to keep the momentum in your favor. And right here, Kamana Carrera, not necessarily the strongest server, but the team understands that and they get together on defense.
Carrera gets it in. That was just a miscommunication. Thorne flying through the air, can't get to it. McFall will try his luck. Here's the set all the way from the back line. Stanford kept it in. Back set, Decker. Points UCLA.
Yeah, caught some hands on the way out. That was one of the longer rallies we've seen up to this point. Stanford still playing with that gritty energy. Now they're just tightening it up ever so slightly.
It will be Cameron Thorne back to the service line for the Bruins.
A little bit of a softer server in his own regard. Something about middle blockers with that.
Good dig from Rotman. Here's Wagner. He'll sail it long.
Yeah, tried to catch some fingers on the way out. Wasn't able to keep it in play.
Well, this is the first time these two teams will face here in 2026. They'll play again tomorrow, of course. They met twice last year. UCLA won both of those, 3-1 and 3-0.
A lot harder of a serve there. Stanford wasn't expecting it, and it turns into a service ace.
Yeah, that one off of the hands.
7th on the year.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, these are the little differences that make UCLA so good and part of the reason why they're the #1 team. They can change things up on you in a flash.
Timeout taken by the Stanford Cardinal. UCLA beat Hawai'i in 3 straight sets. Lewis, exactly the same. Stanford dropped in 3 straight sets. UCLA won in 3 straight sets. UC Irvine, Stanford actually played twice, lost twice. UCLA won. The trend there continues, as we mentioned before. They're 18-0, so of course UCLA did win.
Yeah, but they're doing it in a dominant fashion.
We're back here right to Rotman out of the timeout, and disappointed is Porter as Rotman's kill was blocked at the net. Porter can't get to it, so a point to UCLA right out of the break.
And that's a huge position to be in right there after the timeout, being able to get another serve in play, and then just the defense showing up.
It'll be Cameron Thorne once again.
Yeah, Thorne on a very long service run. This is his 5th.
Into the net. A gift for the Cardinal. The question once again now is, can they capitalize? And for the first time in this set, it will be Jacob Little-Phillips, the freshman setter out of Winter Park, Florida. Florida becoming a big state for men's volleyball.
It's like you can play volleyball year-round, whether it's on the beach or in some of those massive facilities that they've got.
Here's Little-Phillips. There's a set coming in from the back line. It's unstoppable from Sean Kelly right there.
Yeah, there's a reason why he hits such a high percentage. He's 9th in the NCAA as an attacker. Let me get that right. He's 9th as an outside hitter.
He's a sophomore as well, by the way.
Yeah.
So back to the line, it's number 19, David Decker, as the UCLA Bruins are in the lead 13-7 here in the second set after taking the first one. A good dig from Porter. Here's the set. Wagner blocked at the net. That one falls out of bounds. It'll be a point to the Cardinal.
Oh, that one's really close right in front of us. It almost looked like it stayed in play, but the body blocking it there from the official, from Nate Clinton, I mean, it works in your favor.
Rotman back to serve. 7 aces on the year, as we mentioned. There's the reception, the back set. Kelly gets it over. Porter will set it up. It's Wagner, kept up and kept over. Clinton will get the point, parrying it off the block.
Everything was out of system in that situation, but at the end of the day, this is what Stanford is known for. They are known for being gritty, and they are known for being able to get these junk points in that situation. A very good job. 2 blockers came in front of him, 1-on-2, and he's able to use those hands to get the point.
Rotman once again. Redshirt Jr. gets the serve over. Joust at the net. McFall thought he couldn't touch it again, trying to back away for somebody else to get there. Just unfortunate for Stanford.
Yeah, it's just miscommunications all around. This is the difference. Stanford, in their 6-0 run, they have been so tight, and they have had lapses in their focus, but more than anything, they've been able to turn it back and get those victories. But right now, this looks like the Stanford team for the beginning of the year that has just not been on the same page.
That's a good reception. There's the setup to McFall. That's in system if I've ever seen it.
Quick attack on that side. Kamana Carrera is going to come into the rotation in the front line as McFall goes to that backside. Let's see the type of pressure McFall sets right now.
McFall with 9 aces on the season.
Yeah, and that's been coming as of late.
Middle blocker sends it over and sends it long. Point to the Bruins.
In terms of service errors, UCLA has 8 to the 6 of Stanford, but in these situations, it's just the monumental moment where you just got to get something going and you get a service error. It's all context.
The sophomore setter, Trent Tiliaferro, second setter in this UCLA rotation, will come back in for a second serve. Out one, sent long. So trading service errors, and it'll be Moses Wagner to head to the service line for the Stanford Cardinal. We mentioned he was the AVCA National Player of the Week on March 17th. We're going to have a couple substitutions, actually, as it looked like Wagner was headed to the back to serve. And go ahead. Yeah, this is important.
Yeah, this is what we've been seeing as of late. The last few matchups against BYU, Theron Briette has come back into the lineup as the service specialist. So it puts a setter on the back line, and with the rotation, also brings David Wolf into that front line. So you've got a lot more size than 6'8" coming to bolster it.
Theron Briette, senior setter, was getting a lot of starts earlier in the season, sharing time more with the freshman Jacob Little-Phillips now in that setter position, and it's a good setup. Porter. That was a setter with the dig, a libero with the set, and I think Evan Porter will want that one back as he sets it over the net. Point to UCLA.
Just such a difficult thing to do. The libero has to set it up from that back line, so you've got to jump behind that 10-foot line and put it on a dot.
And here's the serve from Andrew Rowan into the net once again. Rowan having a tough time getting going from that service line for the Bruins. And it will be Nate Clinton, the junior outside hitter out of Pleasanton, California. He's got 7 aces on the season coming into today.
So check out this lineup sets right now. If Stanford is able to get a receive right here, Briette is the setter in that back line, and he works with a different tempo than Little Phillips.
There's the set. Once again, coming in from the back line with Sean Kelly. This time it goes into the net.
You know, that's something Stanford has done extremely well today. Those back line attacks have been so powerful for UCLA and really what they're known for, but Stanford has had their number there.
13 serving 16. That's a good dig. Here's the setup. It's thrown into the net.
These are the little things. Stanford was having these issues early on, but as the bigger lineup comes out, it's changing up the approach from Cameron Thorne, who's a smaller middle blocker, and Stanford, with these chess piece adjustments, really just showing up why John Costi has kept the job here for his 20th season.
35 seasons total with the program. Well, you can't keep Cameron Thorne quiet for too long, so he'll tally that one.
Yeah, when you work with the tempo that he has, it's almost like the tempo that you would see on a slide in women's volleyball, where you just have him take a step back, and immediately as that ball is set, it's right there in his hands. No blocker in front of him at all.
Stanford staying close, but UCLA went out to the lead in set number 2 here and has kept that lead. Stanford will tally that point. They're now within 2, but that's been different. You look at set number 1, there were 5 tie scores, 2 lead changes, and instead here in the second set, UCLA has been in control. This is the closest Stanford have been since the beginning of this set. Just 2 points is the difference, and here's Kamana Carrera with the serve. There's this set to the far side. Kelly gets it over. It's kept in. Rotman gets it over, and he'll tally the point.
It's been such a big piece here for Theron Briette. Theron Briette comes in, and he just changes the way that you play. You're getting this fresh breath of air from Briette just because he's not setting these aggressive sets. He's almost throwing it up there and giving you just an opportunity to go up there and find your spot.
Carrera doing a good job to put it in play last time. He'll do the same here. There's the back set. Coming in from the back line was Decker, and diving for it was Clinton. He couldn't get there. UCLA will tally it.
And that's what you love to see from Nate Clinton. He's been such a big piece missed. Came back against Concordia University of Irvine, and he's been so big since. It's just that full-out effort. He is an outside hitter, but his receiving prowess is on full display. And even if he falls to the ground, he's going to crawl. He's going to fight tooth and nail to get there. Last time UCLA went on their 5-0 run, it was off the service of Cameron Thorne.
Thorne with the serve here. Reception, the setup, coming in from the back line.
Only a young player and a sophomore, did not get great contact on that ball. And the number 15 in Cardinal red wants that one back.
Sophomore outside hitter, standing tall at 6'8", but couldn't quite get over it. Cameron Thorne once again, nothing he really can't do. Good serve, it's kept in. Here's the setup. Flying in from the back line is Wong Diallo. Stanford will keep it in. McFall tallies it. There's that connection between Briette and McFall. It certainly is on full display. The senior and the redshirt junior combining.
And now Little Phillips coming to the back line to serve will get his spot right back there. So a really good job in that rotation there, Briette. It really just gave you the opportunity to slow things down ever so slightly. And then when you need to go with tempo and pace, you add that quick middle attack.
Little Phillips into the net.
Hardest thing to do. He hadn't had any opportunities in those last few plays. Comes up to serve and just can't get it over.
David Decker, redshirt junior. Opposite hitter out of North Carolina, 5th in the MPSF in serving aces. We'll send it over. There's a set flying in from the back line is Clinton. What a great job at the net there. That was Micah Wong Diallo, got a hand on it. Just slam dunked it on the other side of the net.
Slam dunk, and it's just happened so.
David Decker back for the serve. UCLA Bruins in the lead 21-17, trying to close this out. Been quite a bit of pressure coming from the Bruins as that one sails long. Not what you expect, Max. There's been a lot of service pressure so far today.
Oh, incredible amount of service pressure. 7 aces, but a lot of them have gone long as well. 12 service errors by the way of UCLA. So it's the flip of the coin. Stanford's been doing a little bit of a better job in that category with half the amount of service errors.
Rotman with the serve. UCLA setting up. Kelly gets it over. Wagner tries his luck. Yes, Moses Wagner. He'll tally his 3rd kill on the night.
So a change up in the way they're setting Wagner right here. They're setting him a little further off the net, and it gave him the opportunity to take that line shot. And if Wagner can get involved, Stanford has a great chance to get back in this one as it's 19 serving 21.
The 6'6" outside hitter. Alex Rotman will send it over. There's the set dump. Blind set dump.
Yeah. We know how good of an assist maker Andrew Rowan is, but there's a reason why he's hitting 400 on the year as well. That's his 22nd kill, and he does it with swag.
Led the Bruin offense to a .364 hitting percentage last year as well. There's the serve from Kelly. It is not received by the Stanford Cardinal. That'll be a point for the Bruins, and Stanford with fewer and fewer points to work with now. UCLA in the lead 23-19. Sean Kelly hoping to finish us off himself. Last year's honorable mention in the MPSF and all freshman team honors. He sends that one into the net. A gift to the Cardinal, who now have 2 points to work with and to serve in this big moment. It will be number 10, Ryan Duras, the service specialist. What a moment for him right now.
I'm going to keep quiet right now because I do truly believe in the broadcaster's jinx.
Duras with a big serve. Well received, back set, coming in from the back line. It's the lefty, David Decker. Gets it through the block.
Yeah, we know what UCLA can do when you part the C from the middle, but they can also set those backsides on the sidelines as well. And in that situation, a massive point, and UCLA set point now.
Yeah, serving for the set will be Micah Wong Diallo, the junior middle blocker. Soft serve. There's the setup. Yes, it's Carrera.
Get Carrera involved. Get your middles involved. That is your highest percentage attack. And when we work with pace and tempo, that is what you can do. Stanford just needs to do their best to stay within system.
Moses Wagner hoping to go on a 4-0 service run right now and take the second set for the Stanford Cardinal, but it's set point once again. There's the back set. The lefty flying in, hits the block. Another point to the Cardinal, and it's into the hands of Carrera.
You know, typically they say defense leads to offense, but in that situation, Carrera got his game going offensively, and it bolstered his talent, and it bolstered his confidence.
Moses Wagner We mentioned he was National Player of the Week a couple weeks ago. He's 5th in the MPSF in points per set and 6th in kills per set. He's got 16 service aces on the season. Not bad, so we'll see what the senior can do.
Mo Money's got to put it all on the table right now. All in.
There's the serve and the set. Good job by Porter. Here's the back set now. Wagner flying in from the back line. In. Another point to the Cardinal.
Huge run here for the Cardinal as they go on a 3-0 run to keep themselves alive. Still a timeout in the pocket of UCLA, but they'll elect to save it. Massive serve there after the timeout for Wagner.
Senior will reset. That's a good dig. Kept in. There's the setup once again. Wagner kept in. Here's the rally off of the hands and out of bounds, and that'll do it.
Oh, man, so close. Stanford fought back, but at the end of the day, you go back to Cameron. Owen has been something special this evening. We've seen him get it done attacking on that no-look, one-handed dump, and there's a reason why this man is a 3-time first-team All-American on his path to get to that number 4.
Yeah, Andrew Rowan, you see him right there. The senior, 19 assists already today, 2 kills, one of them that absolutely gorgeous set dump. I mean, his back was to the net, and he just knew exactly where to place it, and I think that shows a lot of what makes him so great. His court awareness is unmatched. It's outstanding. He really thinks one play ahead, if not more, and he has been a huge reason why this UCLA Bruins team has gotten going. I mean, you look across the board at how many people have tallied a kill on the UCLA Bruins side. 7 people, and we've got Cameron Thorne with 6. Diallo Wong, Decker both have 5. I mean, he knows how to spread the wealth. He knows how to run the offense. Everything goes through the setter, and he's been fantastic.
There's a reason why this team is number 1, and he's leading the nation in assists. Let's just say that. Out to the back line, right back in the service rotation is David Decker. He's got quite a few aces under his belt tonight. Little Phillips going with the middle attack, and a miscommunication to start for Stanford. That's something that they were able to finally get over last set towards the end, and it butts his ugly head to start.
We've said miscommunication a few too many times here for the Stanford Cardinal. You look at their errors, 12 attacking errors for the Cardinal tonight, and at least 3 of those have just been a miscommunication.
Received by Porter. Going over to Mo Money. Porter with the one-hander to keep it alive. Out of system, Rotman. Dug up by Decker. Back row, quick attack. And that is just Zach Rama flying in from that back line.
This is a big inflection point for the Stanford Cardinal. It would be really easy to just kind of lie down and say, okay, the number 1 team in the nation is up 2-0 on us. They're up 2-0 in this 3rd set. They're absolutely rolling. This is what UCLA does to other teams. And if for Stanford, they have to stay strong. They have to take it 1 set, 1 point at a time right now. They can't just kind of lay down and let UCLA roll over them in this 3rd set.
You know, it's a matter of getting back to your identity. That's one of the big things as you bring in Matt Houlihan. Houlihan coming in the middle of the season, taking over that assistant coach job. He's really just breathed in this idea of confidence, and it's not over until it's over. And the dump right there by Rowan. There's a reason we let off this segment with him. Another kill. He is 2 for 2.
733 coming in today in terms of numbers of assists. You mentioned first in the nation, obviously first in MPSF as well. He's averaging 11.63 assists per set. Absolutely impeccable.
Insane numbers here. Sean Kelly goes back to serve. Porter able to receive. Right side, Wagner. Good job getting the hands on the dig. Back row, quick attack, read well there. Now let's try the right side. Wagner off the block, couldn't keep it alive. You try and try and try again, and Moses Wagner finally finding the floor.
Moses Wagner has gotten going. That was his 6th kill on the day, tied with Alex Rotman now for the most kills on this Stanford Cardinal side. He had a tough first set. He couldn't get going. He didn't have any kills off of set 1, and now he's gotten rolling, and that's been important for the Stanford Cardinal team.
You need your best players to step up in the biggest matchups, and he is your ace. And that, on the other side, is another terrific job done by Micah Wong Diallo. Another quick attack working within system and getting the kill.
Wong Diallo has been outstanding. He's now tied with Cameron Thorne with 6 kills on the day. He's hitting .444 now.
Yeah, look at that trend. The middle blockers coming out there and showing off that they're middle attackers. Diallo, received by Clinton. They're going to go to Carrera, and Carrera high points it. Cameron Thorne, quite the middle blocker, but right there, Carrera just towering over him for the kill.
That's good court vision as well from Carrera, just picking out his spot ahead of time.
And Wagner has been keeping things close here from the service line. Like another opportunity keeping this one in play. Setting the left side pin, and the angles are on galore there by Rama. Rama just high pointing that ball, and it's almost like he had a second in the air to think, hey, do I want to go line, do I want to cut shot, what do I want to do?
Oh, of course, third in the MPSF in kills and fifth in hitting percentage. Last year, second team All-American.
Here's Rowan with the big serve. Back row attack, it's Rotman off the top. And that one was an active ball. The angle did not work for UCLA as it spikes down from the stanchion.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That would have been pretty impressive if anybody could handle that one from the Jumbotron.
It's like a middle attacker, but on the other side of the court. Here's Nate Clinton. Land of the rising sun, and that ball drops right down. Second service ace of the evening in a huge moment. Clinton can lull you to sleep with the pace of his serve, but it pays off there.
Certainly like a baseball changeup, that spin serve was, and it dropped in a hurry once it got over the net.
5 serving 5. Nearly another. Left side attack, recycling off the block. Now the joust. Kick save isn't there. Rotman. Ooh. Somebody got caught up in the twiner, stepped over the line. Stanford will lose the point there.
Thorne limping a little bit as he gets up. He's all good.
Here's Rama. Back row attack, chiseling off the block. Can't even call that one a chisel. He just took a jackhammer and sent it right through it.
Yeah, that's Thorne and Kelly combining for the block, and that one had so much pace on it. He just sent it right off the block and back where it came from into the stands.
Here's Carrera. Setting the left side over the block. And man, the athleticism from the young sophomore. I know this is a different sport, but as we are in Maples, everybody knows this venue for basketball, and I just want to see what he can do if you throw a rim in front of him.
He's the only underclassman in this traditional starting lineup for the UCLA Bruins. Everybody else either a redshirt junior or a senior. Lots of experience on this court.
Hiding behind the block, recycling off that block is Rotman, and unfortunately for the Cardinal, that one flew over the net and out of play.
Stanford had done a good job to keep it close.
Yeah, and it still is. I mean, both these teams showing a little bit of fatigue right now.
Sure. For the Stanford Cardinal, it's not about chasing, though. What you want to do is make sure you get the lead and keep it, because it's far too easy for a team like UCLA to go on a serving run, and then you're really playing catch-up. So for Stanford right now, they get this point, they get the serve. Can you take the lead?
And Thorne checks out, so Long Diallo will be in that front line. Stanford will send out Jacob Little-Phillips. This is your strongest attacking point. Quick set, middle attack. Clinton was there, but the attack was too strong. That's the hard part.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the really hard part. You do want to keep it in play and give yourself an opportunity, but a softer serve will give UCLA the opportunity to stay within system. And when they do that, man, there's so much trickery on display, whether it's a middle attack or that back row quick.
Absolutely.
David Decker comes back on a second attempt. Couldn't corral it, was Nate Clinton. So a service ace, it just feels like the boulder is starting to roll for UCLA right now.
This is what I'm saying with these serving runs. If you're Stanford, you really have to capitalize when you do have the serve. That was twice in a row right to Nate Clinton. It just had too much power on it for him to be able to do anything with it.
9 service aces for UCLA. Off the tape. Setting left side, Wagner off the block. Miscommunication once more for Stanford, and it gets a little gunked up on UCLA side. Out of system, right side block solo! Moses Wagner, wow!
It's not going to show through the screen how incredible that was, because that was actually a blind set. Zach Rama set that up. He was staring down one side of the court, and he set it to the opposite side of the court. And Moses Wagner read that all the way and then came up with the solo block.
Rotman with the tough serve in his own regard. The back row quick attack. Did he keep it in play? No! Stanford fighting right back into this. 9 serving 10. Rotman still at the line. Smiles and laughs from UCLA. They're just trying to keep their heads cool. High points the ball on the serve. Left side pin through the hands on the block. And once again, it's Sean Kelly just showing his prowess.
Yeah, you said smiles and laughs, and that's also been one of the main differences here. UCLA are so loose. They're so calm. And no matter what sport you're playing, that always leads to good team-oriented flow. Stanford have been a little tense. They know how much is on the line, and they're playing like it.
Sean Kelly. Setting the far side pin. Clinton continues to work with perfection. His ability to just control it off the block has been on full display, and that has been a massive point in which why Stanford has been able to keep things extremely close. Third kill of the evening. McFall able to keep this one in play. The overpass, joust at the net. And it's Clinton coming up with back-to-back points. Stanford tying things up at 11 apiece.
That's a great job by Nate Clinton, the outside hitter, getting up. He read that beautifully coming out of the other side.
All set up off the service pressure of McFall. I think at some point you got to start to let it rip. McFall high points it, puts a ton of pressure on that serve. Back row quick attack. Officials deciding, and they do make the correct call. It did stay in play on that backside corner, so UCLA able to break up the tie. Wong Diallo now serving. Softer serve, Stanford able to get within system here. They'll go left side, Clinton couldn't keep it in play. When you're given these opportunities, you got to take full advantage of them. Stanford, just a tough situation right there.
Yeah, that one just kind of tough. It was the set from Little Phillips. It was a little too high, a little too far. Nate Clinton was falling backwards as he was trying to hit that, and when you're doing that, you're always going to sail that a little high.
Long Diablo. Short serve. Back row there, two-hand pass. Alex Rotman, and Clinton goes up. The unorthodox plays turning in favor of the Cardinal.
In big moments, you need big players, and you need your leadership crew to step up, and Nate Clinton has done that in this here third set. He is rallying the troops emotionally. You can see him on the court making sure everybody's getting up emotionally, that is. I suppose physically as well, jumping, but Nate Clinton, absolutely outstanding, putting this team on his back right now.
Farron Briette in the bigger lineup comes back in. That is unstoppable. Cameron Thorne. Oh my goodness.
There come moments in every sport where you just have to tip your hat to the other team and say, you know what, good on you, nothing I can do there, and that's certainly one of them. This is a potential scoring run, though, for UCLA.
Rowan with a short serve. Back row attack. Rotman able to keep this one alive. Far set. Wolf with the angle. Cut shot cutting the Bruins apart there.
The sophomore comes up huge. He didn't see any time in the first set. He got a little time in that second set. He comes in here in a big moment, and he tallies a big one.
Had 11 kills in that performance against St. Francis, carrying on some of the momentum as Clinton serves. Stanford able to get in front of the block there for Cameron Thorne that time around. But Cameron Thorne.
In system, it certainly has been in these few sets. If you're in system, you're probably tallying a point. That almost went out of system.
Yeah. They like to go ahead and say, what do you know, broadcasters? Out of system, but still it's Cameron Thorne doing what he does. That is the biggest thing I've seen that not many other middle blockers are able to do. Usually a middle attack has to come within system with pace and tempo, but with the connection that Rowan has with Thorne, it just comes from any angle. Briette still in as a setter for Stanford. He'll go left side over to Rotman, and the block right there was strong. Decker and Thorne building that roof.
Yeah, Rotman was really kind of trying to texture that one. You're not going to do that against those two up at the net.
Well, just the pace slowed down a little bit, and instead of going power, trying to go off the block, Rotman decided to go finesse. But unfortunately, with the strength of the block of...
Well, we're looking across the court here, and there's a lot of blue.
Mixed crowd here at Maples Pavilion. Stack Rama, another opportunity to serve here as it's 17 serving 13, a 3-0 run from UCLA after that timeout. Going right back over to Rotman, and he rips one down the line. 14 serving 17 is going to be Carrera on that back line, and I love to see it. Going right back to the man who made the error on the previous play.
Rotman, 8th kill on the evening.
Here's Kamana Carrera. The young sophomore keeps this one in play. Middle attack, no chance at it. Rotman actually had a good read on that block, and he forced him to go cross court, but there's just nobody else there.
Yeah, well, it's just the timing. That ball is almost hardly even hanging in the air when it's leaving the hands of Andrew Rowan. The amount of time in between when it leaves his hands and Cameron Thorne is hitting it, it's just minuscule.
He's up to 10 kills, hitting 750. So that number in terms of hit percentage on the season of 527 just continues to climb. Left side pin attack. That's Rotman. Not able to cleanly receive it. Has the shot down the line. Porter with the receive, and it's Clinton claiming the point. That was a play all set up by Evan Porter. The triple block was right there. They had full trust in the libero, and then Clinton was able to capitalize.
Clinton's 6th of the evening. Plenty of those have come here in this third set. And coming up big when it matters. Now it's on the freshman. It's on the shoulders of the young setter.
Let's see if he's going to let this rip or if he's going to go with a little bit of a softer ball. We've seen the pressure that he can create. It's just a matter of if he can keep it in play. Jacob Little-Phillips back in the lineup. He puts a ton of pressure, able to collect the arm of Rama on the way out. That's what you expect to see in that foreign Stanford red.
Yeah, that one an odd one. It almost looked like Rama didn't even see where that ball was coming from. It just kind of swiped his hand.
16 serving 18. Little-Phillips getting the applause of all of his teammates. Puts a lot of pressure off the top of the tape. Setting left side pin over the block. Clinton there to dig it up. Wagner joust at the net. Full send there by Connolly. Off the shoulder, couldn't keep it in play, and the nitty-gritty goes the way of the Bruins on that play.
Christopher Connolly laid out in a full extension, completely parallel to the ground. And not only that, he got a perfect hit on it when he did that as well. A beautiful play by the transfer.
There's a reason why he was able to help Long Beach State get that national championship a year ago. Tracking it down, out of system there. Wagner hits into the back line. Back set, cross court, couldn't keep it in. Stanford able to take the point back. This is the difference in the matchup. We've seen Stanford be able to claw things closely here in these sets, but when they've been able to get within two, UCLA finds a way to just step on the gas, get a little more juice, and send that thing into 5th gear. Rotman with a massive serve.
And that's what great teams do. 18-0. Winning is a habit, and they know how to do it.
Rotman gets the receive off the arms of Kelly. Kelly goes up right there on the line. It was Little-Phillips, but the attack too strong. Sean Kelly now up to 7 kills. And rewarded for his efforts, he'll go to initiate. High aggressive server Kelly off the top of the tape. Setting the right side pin, sent away. The roof put up by Rama.
Wong, Diallo, and Rama combining on that. The combination between that middle blocker and the outside hitter, absolutely fantastic. You can see how in sync they are, lockstep for those two rising at the exact same time.
And how much of a blessing it is for UCLA to have a guy like Thorne and Wong Diallo. This serve goes into the net. That is the 15th service error for UCLA. And Stanford, not much room to wiggle around with anymore. They're going to send out Ryan Duras. Kept him in play last time. They're going to need a massive serve for their service specialist.
This is all mental. It's been tough for Duras. This is a big moment.
High ball, aggressive serve. Even better job on the receiver, Connolly, and Juan Diablo able to collect the point. That's as hard of a serve as you could receive for Connolly, able to get that perfect pass within system to go to your middle. This is why they're number one. First opportunity of the match. Deep breath for the young man. And he puts a rocket under that one. Left side, Clinton goes up, double clutches, and hits it into the pin. 23 serving 18.
A couple of times Clinton on that left-hand pin. The timing just hasn't been quite there, and you saw him readjust because he knew the timing wasn't right with that right hand.
Clinton, a 6'4" outside hitter, so slightly smaller in stature as well. Just has to force that. Going to the right side pin. Wagner catches off the chest of Decker. That ball hits the deck, and Stanford staying alive.
Credit where credit is due to Moses Wagner. That's his 7th kill. He's also had 6 attacking errors. They keep going back to him. He keeps swinging hard, and that time he comes up big in the big moment.
There's no quit in Moses Wagner. And he has a great serve there. Left side attack. Staying in. Let's see if Stanford wants to get the challenge here with Costi.
Yeah, certainly. We don't have the best angle, but from our angle, it looked pretty tight. Costi doesn't seem like he's set up to challenge anything, though.
Set, match point. UCLA 24, Stanford 19. It's Andrew Rowan, received by Porter. Middle attack, Herrera keeps the Cardinal alive. Nate Clinton, no room for error. 20, serving 24. The junior out of Pleasanton, California, keeps this one in play. Middle attack, and of course, on what looks to almost be a slide, it's Zach Rama getting the 25th point. 25-17, 25-23,